will find a solution, and the client will not come again. You wonder, but he told me he wanted a 3-bedroom. Now he's buying a 4-bedroom house. Why? Because you were treating the symptom. The symptoms, I need a property. I want a property in a 3-bedroom flat. It's 50 million naira.
What's that sound from? Okay.
I'm not judging. So the problem is somewhere.
The stuff in his pocket.
So, the one later comes. I have bought this, I have bought that. And I think actually told me when I was very young, said, see, Charles, I have this problem. I have some plans. If they want to buy a property of 200, 300, they call me and I give it. But all of a sudden, I don't hear them saying, they bought the property 1.2 billion, 1.5 billion, they don't call me, they do not think they are in that space. And they have never shown to them that they are ability to help them solve the problem within that space. So that is why strategic restoring is important. That's why we talk about the symptom, the problem, and the cause. If you do, that's why in risk assessment, they say root cause analysis. If you don't get to the root cause, that's why you find the property. You see that thing that person is holding, it's just an evidence of something. CFO something is an evidence of something. It's not something in itself. It's an interest. It's an evidence of ownership, of a kind of ownership. That's what it is. If I give you the receipt you gave me, it's an evidence that I actually paid money. So what I need to do, what did I pay money for? That's where the DDS comes in. So I will start to understand why some things happen. They are not just happening because we just need to do them. It's because we are looking at things from these 3 levels. So I told the lady, we are not in that market. That's why the client is not respecting the market. You know, you don't get to the point where
Just don't worry, 47 and everything will be fine. Let's just manage this one.
we are not always going to do things like just that the relationship is still skewed towards the client being professional or not being professional. Another ways, okay, next thing is we go to doctors. Sorry, you can go to
Interview questions.
now you need what you need. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Oh, thank you. And we come back. You need to almost do it 3 times. Because you feel you have elevated them. Your client must elevate you. Customer is king. You are that. Customer is king. You are a professional. So how do your clients, how do your customer succeed as a professional or an assistant or someone they are helping? We just want to help out, we just want to help. So we are not important. So moving forward, everything we've said, you've seen. Anything you see on paper are just symptoms, evidence of something happening. They are not really those things happening. Yesterday on TV, I saw the video. I saw an attack they said happened in Kwara. I heard about the 25, 23, something, 25. Last week, I was hearing about the issue. What I'm saying is all of those things are just symptoms. So what happens a lot of times is just and then we generalize. We want to be action. And I tell you, those things you do repeatedly, why haven't you in the same direction? Then when you come back to your profession, you also apply the same direction. Oh, the property is fine, it's beautiful. So I think you divide, it's okay. When you know, somebody else will do something.
It's actually okay. It's better, but network is bad.
So, all we've said is to bring us home to real estate. So the question is, what is real estate? What is real estate? We are here because of real estate. So the question is, what is real estate? Anyone wants to know? Well, let's be simple. When the word real estate comes out, what comes to mind? Yes. Land and landed properties. Buildings, property investment. Money. Structures. What's the background? Let's reconsider.
Yeah, for audience reaction.
You see things based on how you are convinced. He said structures, and that's why I asked him. I knew it has to do with an engineering part. So I think it's in the if he is in the real estate field, I can tell you it's going to almost be carried away by the structures. What's the problem?
Focus on audience reaction.
Sorry?
Focus.
International law and diplomacy. So when you hear anything international, it's about ethics.
Take your lens to 35.
I'm just saying. Now, in all, she said money. Why I'm saying this is because she may
You
be
should take it to 70.
business minded. She may be someone that likes business. And she's interpreting it already from that without anybody pushing or saying anything. Land and landed properties. What's your background, brother? Real estate. You study real estate. You don't always say land and landed properties because it's not the general.
That, but don't focus on the man. Well, have enough angles on the man.
So you can see that from what has been said, I was able to pick out some things about it. And I can tell you that is how we approach the market. So before we enter the market, we need to really say to ourselves, what is this industry about? What was this industry made for? How can I tweak? So when I say tweak, not your principles, but your positioning. So that you
have too much headroom.
So as is an engineer, civil engineering background, and the same structures, I can tell you somebody says they want to buy an apartment in the of flats. They wasted money, they lost money buying an apartment where there were cracks everywhere. We didn't get to and start to talk about structures. They will still listen. So, same way, if I'm meeting a client, I need to understand what their background is. And to take you away from the conversation of the lesson. I want to know where you're coming from. I want to know the information or the terminology you understand. If you are a doctor, very easy and you're having issues with properties. I will go through the doctor of medical
Go and help him, guys.
If you are a creative artist, I know how to take you from creative art back into the rest. If you are an engineer, I need to talk about load and efforts. I need to talk about efficiency. I need to talk about standardization. When you start to use those words, an accountant, we use words for you. You can see why I said you need to expose your mind
You have your stuff with you.
beyond where you are, where you are being, so that you know how to get into that market. If he reads property prices are high, there's a way to
Even this one, so
there's a
we
way
already
she's
did
going
this.
to there's a way she's going to do it. But a professional sits and looks at things
All these
holistically,
things off again.
devoid of any personal bias. Well, there's something called heuristic bias. Bias based on what you have experienced, the things you have been exposed to previously, and you feel things will always be like that. So get back to our definition to what is it? Yes, land property, landed property structure.
That's what
Yes,
the
money.
mix as it's going off.
Because the place is vacant. Nobody is there for
Lack of
12
focus.
or this place is empty. Follow and nothing is happening. You tell the child why you're losing money. Why you're losing money.
The camera stand
Right?
camera.
So, people say real estate is what you see is physical. So what I'm saying is, alright, let's start with this. So, real estate comprises a bundle of what interests.
Yes, but I'm taking back home.
Real estate is a bundle of. So let me give you an
This
example.
night. Lack of focus.
As we are here,
They focus on someone else.
somebody wants this dream.
Focus on one person.
The
If you
person
don't
has
focus on
no
one
rights
person, just touch the
to come
focus.
to this place. The person has no rights, cannot.
So I'm coming here, you just stay like
cannot
that.
step to this place without an approval of the occupant of this place.
Okay, I'm out. Thank you.
Now we are here. The
I'm out that
occupant of
way
this
and
place
move to another person.
cannot say to her, madam, please, move.
So I'll make it easier for you. If I tell you I need someone's reaction, I'll just call you.
That's what, how is your space?
So focus on me, on me. I see myself in the background.
There are layers of interests.
You can get your side profiles instead. Okay, so I'm coming in on that.
What we deal with are interests, bond of rights.
I'm out. Thank you. I'm out.
Bond of
I'm out.
rights.
Dapo, I'm out.
So there is a seller's right,
I'm out.
there is a tenant's right,
I am out.
there is a neighbor's right. That's why they say your use of the property must not constitute a nuisance. So when you understand these
If you
things,
can rest more.
it will be easier for you to ascribe, I would say, value to properties. It will be easier for you to say, this property is good, this property is not good. It will be easier for you to say, this property actually worth this amount. This property, I can tell my client to buy this property. So, if someone buys a plot, he's going to buy a plot, what he asks is, are you not going to because it's not going to be on my side. It's not going to be in one court case, in court. But the mortgage is another part. The deed of mortgage will be something else. The bank now has a right to what happens. It's possible that I am managing the property and what you are doing is you are thinking how about it. I have
Excellent.
some rights I can exercise over that because I now have you giving me part of your rights to act on your behalf. So it's important for us to know that real estate comprises bundle of rights and interests. This building is the last thing I see.
Still like.
First thing I see, those things that are not seen. If you close your eyes, have to close your eyes in the market so that you can see those things that are not seen. Because those are the things that are very good.
Seconds of
Not just what you see. Those things actually move the value of the product. So, this is what you see when you read this agreement,
Mine was not going to.
you see this. You don't see this. Once a professional, you can start to look at this. The professional
Opposite.
sees this.
Opposite.
The
Cut
professional
down on the
sees
edge room.
it's linked to the other
Too
person.
much.
It's linked to different rights. Government is expected to collect tax.
It's okay.
So if I'm saying that government has the right to shut down their apartments if the person that is supposed to pay does not pay. So if all I'm doing is collect my tenancy agreement and sign off, then I'm a fool. And that's why sometimes when I see some things on social media, I just smile and laugh. You cannot be a mechanic. You cannot be a doctor. So why do you want to be a why not ask the professional to guide you? To help you interpret what these documents you sign is more important than the money you pay.
Yes, exactly.
It's more important than the money you pay. So that's why it's important that I would ask, can you send me a draft of the tenancy agreement? Can you send me a draft of the papers? The CFO, the survey for this place, the estate rules, the deed is going to be a deed of assignment and a deed of surveys. I hope you know the difference between the two. Deed of assignment, deed of surveys. Am I correct? Anybody needs some repetition? So, all of those things, so that you don't come up tomorrow with handing me the deed of surveys. And sometimes, even the deed of surveys is better than the deed of assignment. It depends on the context. Right? But we need to start to pay attention to this. You will not pay attention to this if you do not understand what it means to be critically minded. So, now we are moving into how we interpret real estate. The fundamental dimensions of real estate are in 4 parts. The legal, physical, social, economic. You see, we can demolish. Oh, I forgot to put this picture there. The cartoon parts. Relevant. And we can. Question is right. Someone say something. UK is what? UK is right. UK is right. UK is right.
Okay, Dapper, let's go.
Wrong.
Sure, sir.
Wrong. Let me start with the word. That was
Give me a
wrong.
second. I'm coming.
Manner of approach.
Alright, so I'm coming in on you, Dapper. Just stay.
Yes. Wait to trigger. Let me ask you a question.
So, see. I
You
don't
are looking for
know
your
what's
home,
going on.
your back, and somebody find me by
This is
your
it, sir.
back.
Eh?
Yeah, I put it on
Sorry.
for here.
This is my back. Am I correct?
Don't give me that house part. Don't give me the house part. Hold on. You ready? Darling. Hold on. This is it. I thought there was another one. Is it Jack? Do you have another Jack? So come.
So you know what?
Tap on focus. Tap on focus. Tap on focus. There's no extension here.
Yes.
So Tapamo, you just hold on.
What? Is a place of ownership. There's a place of ownership. Yes.
I'm out Tapo. Go to the person that they are going to talk to. Go closer, go closer, go closer, go closer.
Okay, PK, and some guys,
Thank you, Dapo.
some officers,
Obviously, your focus is quite loud. Okay, it looks okay. It looks okay, it looks okay.
So he got there and he found an officer.
So,
And the
I
officer
plugged
actually
it
said,
in, you hear me?
refused them from entry.
I plugged it in. I want to, I increase no audio.
The guy did not respond. He was upset. I think what I saw online was full and there was some words like that. He said he was sick. But the guy still says, I am an officer and now I'm not stupid and I think that's what people are trying to use now. I'm not stupid. I'm not a fool. People are trying to do that now. So we are going to this, right? Who was right and who was wrong? Now, interestingly, it has to do with the land. You must be able to prove that you have ownership over land. The land use act says that it's government that owns everything. All land is with government, and they give it out to people for a period. So government has the right to ask you at any point in time. And you do not, and you say yes, this is my document. That's it. Documents and evidence of ownership. Not knowledge. Not who shows up on that place.
Thank you.
It is two-sided. Why? Because if it was an average Nigerian that was there, this person would have been asked to leave. Was an officer, so it is a question of it is possible they have the right documents. Remember, you saw this. Listen. Until we see this, no take decision. Until we see this, no. So you guys go decide how much is a 2-bedroom in if I build something in how much can I sell it? I'll tell you the price. Outside if I don't like that, it depends. Just tell me straight. For real estate is not straight. Even the way to your house is not straight. So I can't give you a straight answer. I must put conditions, whatever I say. So we must understand that there are conditions, there are bodies of knowledge that make us, help us to make decisions. That's why in statistics or economics they say if then all things being equal, then there are some assumptions that must be satisfied before you make some decisions. So if one factor is off, then you go back to those assumptions.
That's what I'm showing you.
That's why I don't know
Yes, it's
things are terrible. And people are not revolting. It seems as if there is something wrong. People are still happy. That's why they say yes,
you know the sound out
because
of
it's
the
probably to be in Europe. You are a different thing, right? So, going back to what we're trying to say,
the live stream will go
leader,
on.
the monitor to Lagos. And if you start to interpret all those pictures you saw from this perspective, you understand what happened. The lady said she wanted to
It was not working before.
and within 1 year, the landlord told her
inside that
and she has furnished the place, she renovated the place everywhere. She was on social media. She was shouting.
No, it's for me. It's like 5 seconds.
negotiate that right. So the man had that reservation. So he came out 1 year to do that. The next thing you say, I is not normal. Your low cost is supposed to be emotional. That's why I say your decision will never be emotional. But you must be skilled in interpreting the emotions in the market. When you are representing the client and the client is already going emotional, you must be able to bring that back to the table. Objectivity. We need to be objective here. I understand you want to do this. A client called me and said, you know what? I said, yeah, I rented one house in what's the name of this estate now? Said it was 1.5 billion, Peanut Beach. And he said, Psyche, I'm looking for how to buy this house. Said it was, so I said, fantastic. So how do we go about it? So okay, it's 1.5 billion. So first, how much do you have in investments? How much do you have in your savings? How much? By the time I was asking those questions, I was trying to touch all those emotions, cancel them, without saying you cannot buy it. So I the way I look at it, I'm going to have only equity of about 35%. Okay, what about debt? Commercial loan. Fantastic. Let me call the bank. I already knew the rates. I didn't call anybody. I called her back and I said, you know what? The rate is 35%. Ah. Thank you. So I said, so what will I do now? Truth is, beautiful house. This house is not beautiful 5 years ago. I will not be the most beautiful next year. Let us wait for a while. What you said makes sense. The other house, I didn't want to lose them. I understand.
Now,
I would have tried to walk out through that part,
give him the wired,
but I lost a client that could do the business just because I wanted to do on just one property. So there are dimensions. There are dimensions to properties, right? Legal, physical, social. You see, this is greatly impacted by legal, impacted by social, economy. Let me give you a good example. If I build this space, physical, and it's just container, just a minute. All right.
so property.
So does he have legal rights?
This man they use basic cash cruiser.
So he has the right. Why? Because it was partial ownership. I just had possessory rights. So I can't leave. The moment I'm going and so that come, that might. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So we need to start to see things from this perspective. Imagine the house at Evans. Evans. Magodo Cruz. Or Sage Cruz.
Nobody say cruise now.
I found this beautiful house for you. It's stupid.
It's a monitoring to joke. It's
Nice.
great.
Deal.
She did monitor
Okay.
her well. She won't
You
hear
found out that
meeting divide it up. There's no way you can hear me.
Evans.
Yeah, you hear the English because we're getting it from outside. But it's better now.
He said no. Will you pay? She's nodding yes. Yes, Evans, the kidnapper.
Jesus is Lord.
No, he said his house, yes. He has been arrested and he has just signed where he lives.
Sorry to switch it. The wire when it was on.
You know, except you know that the client does not care, you cannot sell it to the client. Because you live in an environment that we are very religiously biased. You get what I'm trying to say? I was saying this is how my prayers grow up to you. How many blood? So that we fast so many things. We don't know what's beneath the surface, so we use a lot of inferences, we use a lot of assumptions to go down. Every water I have dived into is deep. So I got to this swimming pool and I thought it was also deep.
Let me relax.
So and I went through it. Wow. Death.
Some battery.
That's what happens a lot of times when we make assumptions. In real estate, we should Test assumptions. Test. Then make a decision. Don't go out to make that move. So, you have the legal dimension. What's the legal dimension? You tie to the rights. That's what
Right,
we're talking
let's
about.
go.
I don't want to spend more time here.
Let's go.
Then we have the physical. Oh, this is the structure. Sometimes you are not good. You are not skilled in the legal aspect. You know a broker that is skilled in the legal aspect. Talk to the broker or the lawyer. That's why some lawyers are there. That's why some Western lawyers are there. Even some guys in Alausa, they just collect some money and give you wrong information.
Okay. The white balance has changed again. Abosede. White balance has changed again.
Physical. I got to a place and the person was building.
So that
and they were saying,
going closer to people.
nice.
Go closer to no, not from there. That angle, nah.
Very tiny.
So let's do side profiles. No. Don't do real estate now.
The ball moved.
Side profiles.
But the ball
Different
moved
side.
means that it's not level.
Side.
And I told the man, what I'm seeing here is not level.
I can't see your cam. Check that that stuff is
was
on.
trying to rearrange. You can see that this place is okay. This place, I just put some cement here.
It's still my plug.
I left it. As I was walking, I knew I was going down. And when I come back, I'm going up. I did not tell the guy that they see the same thing. I was doing water. So I just
Why is he even dying fast? Yeah.
water will always move. Just went. Water is flowing over. So they noticed. There was now another case. Everybody was walking. You know why you guys are doing boys to walk? Please, yes, brokers. Ensure that you walk and
I've disconnected it. That's why I'm surprised.
Hello?
Yes, you
Don't
don't walk.
3,000.
Now,
Walk, let them hear you are walking. Sometimes you may just be like, you know your hand cannot touch this place. You skip because of the microphone. You jump and apply your weight. I think to a video and I said, the start was bouncing. Yes. So when we checked, the span was more
Sam,
than
please
just
help her to do the color profile.
then we saw that it didn't reinforce some parts of that slab. Now, it's not as if every problem is a no. The next question is, can we fix this? So we went downstairs and we looked at it and we said, okay, with this, I think we can introduce some reinforcements and also introduce a pin to hold it. The guy wants the property. Property is fine. But it was what I would call over design. Physical. Beautiful does not mean you must have a path you use, a pathway for accessing properties. Before you get to how beautiful it is, I'm asking myself, what's the level of, what's the straightness of this road line? If I can tell you when a female tailor shows interest, if you are someone that is very, that understand lines, you will see that there are some zips, they will go like this. They can be styled, right? But when you just see it, you know that this one is not straight. Some points in the neck, you know that it's beautiful. But you know some things are not aligned. Exactly. That's what, so you know that.
That's what you call it. From the black magic. Where is it?
This builder wash
On the inside.
so there will be more errors.
So that's why I'm surprised why she still have off it already. Should you hear me again?
There's a potential for more
Can you
errors.
still hear
So I
me?
need to open my eyes.
Should you hear me?
The sound is okay. I
So
don't
when
know.
we build, you can go, we walk around Lagos. Beside our house, church, mosque, there will be a small project going on. Volunteer to be a part of it.
You can hear me.
Make a video.
That's
Why
this audio that's
are you
entering.
using 1, 2,
Yeah, that's why I'm
6,
surprised why she's here.
Why are you not
In the
using
live.
Wait, if I go to now.
Let them tell you why they're using this kind of stuff. If they're not using this kind of stuff, why
You
can't
can't
you
hear.
ask them to do
You can't see any audio there.
No.
I'm doing. Don't worry. I just know what it is.
Because the day you get to site,
Fancy.
and the client is looking at you asking,
She's hearing my sound because I also heard it.
how many floors are you going?
The audio, because I took it from the recording.
I've off my own audio.
From this floors, you shouldn't be doing like 16. I want you to tie this gate.
It's crazy.
No, I've get it right. We just
That's why I'm on you. That's why I'm on you.
Protecting him or her from any form of loss.
I'm out.
Yeah, that client was just, that's idiot president that I put her in. That's the kind of person we want. She's smart, intelligent, that's why she's not you.
I feel it's down.
Because you are not
Very
it.
sad.
There's something called willingness to give. Willingness to engage.
something that
Everybody can show somebody a class, but not everybody can present
Is
the
it?
class the way it's supposed to be presented. Not marketing now, but able to analyze the property of the client.
This is what
Once the client sees that value, the client is ready to pay you higher fees. So I don't want to lose 5% or 7% of this. I would rather pay full fee for this person that understands this matter. We talked about social. Who is in the apartment? That's why they say, oh, shopless, you have voice. So let's say they will say, no, you can't have shopless. Because they feel it's going to value in assets. Some will say,
There was one, a popular artist, PA, rented a property and the woman was like, I don't want this kind of people. Before you know it, they have access to all the police officers in Nigeria. And I told her, madam, it's not about police, it's about your contract. I can help you work on your contract. Give it to me and I'll fortify your contracts for you. She said, are you sure? Yes. She's always scared of the guy. Like I said, we are to solve problems, not to escalate problems to the client and back out and say, let's go to the next. Every property in Nigeria has a problem. It's either it has a legal problem, or it has a physical problem, a social problem, or economic problem. You must create a balance for the clients. Tell me a perfect property, you know. I need a perfect property. Perfect property. Even I remember the last time I was moving from Barcelona to France. Yes. At the airport, water was dripping, and they had a bucket. But we say, it cannot happen like that. These taxpayers, human beings are the same thing. I can tell you. It is just because they have some level of controls and consequences for inaction. That's why they seem better. They seem better. Some streets of London, you cannot just walk with your phone around 11 p.m. You'll be looking left and right. It's still a developed, civilized environment. It's the control that we are putting, and we need to understand that. So, economic, social, physical, legal. Ask yourself, legally, where is this property positioned? Physically, how is it positioned? You know that you can meet a client and you can do reports for a client like this. Just one paragraph, take pictures and touch. You see that your reports will be different from every other person. This is the kind of person I need. This is the kind of doctor, in quotes, I need, that is explaining it to me. Madam, so you know what? That headache is not coming frequently because when you sleep without the lights, you sleep late, but you wake up late. So it's as if it wears out. You trying to explain something, it may not make sense sometimes, but because it has been explained, you feel it makes sense. Do you understand? But what we are saying, what we are selling, what we are telling them must make sense, because if they test it and they see that you have lied, that's a problem. Oh. So, okay. So global trends, quickly, where am I now? 11 and I'm going to about 30. All right. So, global trends quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4. The future is now, and we're talking about standardization, we're talking about digitalization, prop techs and the like. evolving workspaces, sustainability. Everywhere you go to, they want to talk about green, 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 green. Now, the tax law in Nigeria is saying that if you are going into any green investments, you are tax exempt. So they want to push people towards green energy. So if you are buying or you are selling an electric car, you don't pay capital gains tax, depending on the size, the amount, right? If you are investing in it, you are tax exempt based on some figures. You don't pay VAT and the likes because they want to promote the green economy. Do you understand? So very soon, what they are trying to do is move us from fossil fuel to green energy. Sustainability. World Bank will try not to give you loans again if you don't have some drivers of ESG in those things. Sorry? Yes, so we have social development goals, SDGs. Then you have ESG, which is more or less the summarized way. We have the economic, it must pass the economic test, it must pass the social test, and it must pass the governance test. Even the economic is more or less environmental. Now, the ESG, that's why if you ask companies today, in their policies, they now have ESG principles and policies, just for positioning. So ethics, I will not, so I will not do what I'm not supposed to do. I will only do the right thing, even if it will cost me my fees. A property has a crack, and this is the only property left. It's 31st of December. You have to pay house rent. When you get to the gate, the man is already waiting for my rent, and you promise him that today, I will pay. And this client is ready to conclude and pay you fees. That is 3 times of your salary, of your rent. Will you tell the client to go ahead because of the crack? Or not to go ahead because of the crack? Or will you tell the client to go ahead because of your house rent? Because you may not have a place to stay. I can tell you, it may not be as what I have presented. But every time, if we check, we make decisions because of some pressures. We need to define the pressures we are facing and try to take ourselves from those pressures, right? If we evolving workspace is also beautiful, you can see plants. Many years ago, to go to First Bank, it is concrete jungle. That's what we call it, concrete jungle everywhere. You just go into the environment. But now what is happening is that wellness is being infused into the workplace. So, as a broker, you want to ask your client, you want to understand what your client's perspective is concerning what they want to buy. Are these people that are talking about sustainability? And you must look for a way to sell it to them also, because that's how you can position yourself as an expert to help consult in some ways. I don't want to dwell too much on this. Now, we've talked about critical thinking, and we want to start to use some methodologies in applying that critical thinking skills, right? One of the things you need to know how to do is industry analysis. And in industry analysis, what happens is, first thing I will introduce you to is Porter's 5 forces. There is no business you want to analyze, no industry you want to analyze. Photography, videography, social media, furniture, religious centers. If we say they are business centers, or somewhere somebody said, oh, even church, mosque, everywhere is a business center because you need money to run it, you know. They need diesel in their generator. Where do you get the money from? You must market somebody to provide, whether it is self-conviction or marketing it to another person. I said, I'm not there. Anyways, threat of new entrants. If what they say is that if One is, what are the drivers? Orange Island came, boom. What are the drivers? We need to know, so that when you see something, you're able to spot it without anybody asking questions, or you asking people questions. That's the essence of this section. Population, we've always talked about Lagos is highly populated. The rate of movement, migration to Lagos is so high that the number of houses they are building cannot catch up. Cannot catch up. Technology, the weather, climate, flood. There are some places I will not take my clients to because of flood. I have just decided that that's how I operate. The legal aspect also. So, now we've talked about political, we've talked about the person. So the political, for instance, we are talking about government infrastructure projects. We are talking about the revocation of land titles. What government is doing that is impacting the environment. So now you have ChatGPT, you have AI. What you can do with AI is, you hear some series of news, plug them into AI and ask AI, how would this affect the real estate markets? Precisely the residential markets, precisely the off-plan markets, and the full option market, this furnished apartment, short let. Ask. It's not always right. It's not like, it's not completely correct, but it gives you something to think. It gives you a platform to think and also to engage. So when you are in a conversation, those things stick because you have interacted with them. They help you. So the new tenancy law in Nigeria, they've said they want to do this, they want to do this. How will it impact property ownership, investment in residential property, tenancies in Lagos? It will give you one or two things. Out of what you've read, probe again. You are just trying to think, because what you are doing on social media, you are just reading what people decide to write. What you're now doing with AI is try to probe the information, because AI is giving you the information that is online. But when you critique it in a certain way, it's going to help you interpret some things in a certain way. So you can say to AI that you are going to be an unbiased author assessing the real estate markets globally with experience of over 25 years, using XYZ standards in your operations. And this is the benchmark. You must be objective, you must act trustworthy, and you must tell me the truth, even if I'm going to lose money. So he says, okay, let's go ahead. Then you ask those questions, it tells you those opportunities. It tells you this cannot be an opportunity. Oh, there's an issue with Trump. Do you think it's going to affect real estate in Abuja and Lagos? It tells you, oh, which other country did this actually happen? And what did they do? How did it affect their real estate? Tomorrow you'll be in a conversation and you tell them, oh, you know what? I remember when Trump was saying he was going to get into the issue between Israel and this country, and this was what happened to their real estate. This was how values happened. But thank God, maybe Saudi Arabia came in, and you will be able to contextualize conversations. People will see you are different. That's the essence of what we are doing. I'm not here to tell you the land value in Banana Island is 5 million per square meter, 4 million per square meter. What do you call it? VI is 2.5 million, 2.7 million. That's not what I'm here to tell you. I'm trying to tell you to start to think differently, because you have value to add. Don't do a copy paste. Copy and critique, and create your own value. Don't copy and paste. So my time is running. I don't know if you will get, I think you should get these slides. So we have the legal all the way, LASRERA laws, the mortgage, also the mortgage reform. And recently they talked about Murphy. We all know Murphy. Murphy, where they say single-digit interest rate of 9.75. You can access it to buy a property and you repay for 20 years. So all of this information, we need to know how they work. Why is it different from NHF loan? Why is it different from what NMRC is doing? What's NMRC in itself? How is this different from what is happening in the US and in the UK? Because sometimes your clients are from those places and they understand how those places work. So for them to relate with what you are saying, you must be able to domesticate it to their mind. But if you cannot connect it, it will be difficult for you to have good conversations with them. So I will run quickly. This was a property scorecard I did for an international body. They wanted to understand how the property market in Nigeria operates. So every aspect of this, interestingly, you can actually take a picture. Okay, don't worry. Let me go to the next because of time. I have how many minutes left? 5, 7, 10. 5. Okay. So let's look at this. Environmental social governance. Aha. We've talked about this, right? Sustainability. I will start with sustainability and I will end with this and this. So just look at this as I'm talking about sustainability, then I'll go to the last, right? So for sustainability, what they've said is that we must ensure that we think about the other person when we are making any decision. But again, what has happened is that a lot of developers are saying, you want me to create a green area. I buy this land for 4 million of 2.2 million per square meter, and I'm building. You have not reduced your costs, and you're asking me to provide trees. Who's going to pay for the trees? The market is saying that things are even expensive. So by the time I introduce all of this into my cost, it means that my property will be more expensive. Instead of me delivering maybe 36 units, I now need to probably use about 2 or 3 units for green area. They would say, some would say, I don't need this. I'll probably go somewhere to go and relax, then come back home and sleep. So we have that imbalance currently in the real estate space. That's why you see a lot of developers, it's just concrete. And what they now bring, just for aesthetics, they bring in the artificial plants to just make you have a feel of a sustainable environment. There's nothing sustainable about it. What some people have done is try to use some digital infusions to create smart environments. That's not really smart, to be honest. So markets in real estate, right? We have the land market, we have the office markets. Specialized markets are the ones that are like, so when I say specialized, we're talking about places like museum, places like cultural heritage locations, Randu Center that you have around Onikon. Those are like specialized properties. Now, what I would say is that all of these exist. They have different critical success factors for you to be successful in them. You cannot be a broker on land and you say at the same time you'll be a master in, use those principles in office, or you use those principles in hospitality. You will get it wrong. You need to master one or two. Then you can partner with people who understand those other markets. So when your client is saying, I want to invest in the hospitality industry, you already know who you can work with so that your client will not make a mistake, because it is possible your client has done well in hospitality and you're bringing your client into land, and your client will lose money, and that will be the end of that relationship. So that's why they say collaboration is key. You must know who you are working with per time. But let me end here so that we understand how the market really functions. So in every real estate market, you have occupiers markets, you have what we call investment market, and you have the development market. You need to decide where first you are going to operate from. Everybody operates from one of these places. So as a tenant, you are in the occupier market. The financiers, they sit here. Investors, the developers sit here. For all of this to work together, government has to tweak something within that space. Now look at it. The developer develops, right, and sells to the investor. The investor or the owner decides to rent it out to an occupant. Who pays rent? If this man pays 1 billion to buy the property, will his rent be 200,000 naira per annum? No, exactly, because it's a feed operation, or who's the overseer of the property market is government. So government uses policies to move things in different markets. So if you have not tweaked something here and tweaked something here, you cannot say rent should be capped. So you can see how you can sit to understand and analyze the market. If you are tweaking the rent, the question you should ask next is, what happens to the investor? How will they be able to pay back their loans? What are you doing to that loan that they've not paid? Yes, some people will say houses have been, they paid up the loans. Some of them are old houses. But the question again is that some of them, that's the only business they have. So the question is, what happens to their standard of living if they cannot meet up with their daily obligations or family obligations? Have we asked those questions too? Then the developer, your prices are much. It's very high. So government, what can we do? The first person to interact with every market should be the government. To say, oh, for the developers, you know what? For the first half of next year, because of the pressures that may be coming, any approval that is coming for affordable housing is going to be slashed 70%. The one for luxury, we are going to increase it. Now, what you're doing is that you are taxing the luxury guys and you are trying to de-emphasize the luxury to place more emphasis on the affordable or the social housing. If you don't do that, developers will not think about that market. So that is why when we sit, we need to, and we are faced with any problem, we need to look at how these markets interact, how we can make inferences from this market and make decisions from them. So this will be my concluding slide. There's so much I think I wish I would have been able to say, but because of time constraint, if you have any questions at this time, please let me know. Thank you. They ask questions now. Okay. Questions, please. Yes, she has a question.
Sorry, very random question. Regarding this, does it mean that developers doing affordable housing now, because there's a huge surge in that area, does it mean that they're partnering with the government and then you're getting a slash on their permits and those things they have to pay for?
Okay, one of the major costs to development is land costs. And because of the cost of land, that is why even developers are not buying land. They are doing JVs. It is only the bigger developers that have been able to hold land for a while that are able to do such. I know one developer around the Onikoyi side, very strategic developer. What he did here was perfect. He just created a community without having that gate. He just created a community. So where I'm going to is for the the developers are looking at. So what the developers are doing, thank you very much. So what the developers are doing is they are going to places like Abraham Adesanya. Going further down, they are going to Ibeju, going to Igondo, going to Arepo, and some of these places to put some development together. Now, what we need to understand is social housing is different from affordable housing. Affordable housing, what is affordable to me as I'm standing here, I can buy a property of 2 billion naira. She can buy a property of 3 billion naira. Those 2 points may be too low for you. You may be able to buy 10 billion. That's affordable. So affordability is relative. We must understand that. Social housing is what we have in those places like Brooklyn, where you have the projects. Because those are social housing, where government has subsidized a lot of things. But what has happened is, when you look at the places like Jakonde housing, those are social housing. You see the ones, Millennium Estates, that were built, I think by Fashola or maybe Ambode, LSDPC, yes. They are more affordable at different levels. Even LSDPC is building some affordable units in VI, in Lekki, that are affordable to those class of people. So affordability is relative to classes, not a generic position. Social housing creates a full bracket to say everybody around minimum wage or a bit above, what kind of housing can they get? So the question is, really, is anybody earning 500,000 naira in Nigeria today that can buy what you call affordable? Do you get? So so you start to ask yourself, what is the cost of even putting up just one property, one building? And if you're going to sell, how much will you sell? Now, discount it to the person earning 500, 1 million, 1.5, 2 million. It tells you the brackets immediately. And that's why even as you are brokers, you need to look for ways to gather data from your clients in terms of who they are, where are they coming from. You start to understand that data, and you can actually plan and project the kind of people you want to market. So when somebody shows up, you already know that this person is not within this space. You can gradually move them into their space without hurting their emotions. Very important. Any question? Any other question again? Yes, 1, 2. Let me go here. Then we'll come there.
So I wanted to know, what were the 2 questions you asked the agents for the property you were asked to come and check by your clients?
So as a valuer, what I do is when we interpret the market. So one of the things I asked was, who built? What has it done currently? Project stake. If I see a project and you tell me this project was done within 5 months, 6 months, and I see the person behind it, there's no way this person would have done this and have done it well. I know people who close projects 5, 6 months and they still do it very well. When I say houses, I'm talking about like a duplex or a detached house. They will do it within 5, 6 months. They have the methodology. They've repeated it. See, if you walk into your house, if you get to your gate, you can close your eyes and walk in and walk out. If I get there, first night, second night, I still cannot do it because you are used to that part. And that's one thing people need to understand, that because somebody has produced it doesn't mean he can produce it like others will produce it. And that's why there's a model in business called the repeatability model. Can that person repeat it? Considering all these conditions is very, very key. You get what I'm trying to say? Because I was opportune to be at a business meeting last Saturday, and somebody said the 2 most important things that make businesses scale, the sweet spot idea and the promoter, the leader, the brain behind it. So when I see a project and I say, who is the person behind this? Okay, it makes sense that we can talk about it. But some, immediately they hear the name. Okay, just imagine Scott Guma saying, I am promoting this business. What do you think, this project, what do you think markets will do? What do you think markets will do? They'll buy it. They will buy it because he has touched their emotions. He has touched their emotions to the point that they have this willingness to pay. When he fails, what happens? They step out. And that's what we need to understand. That's why I said we as professionals should help our clients make objective decisions based on their emotional appeal. You don't, how would I put it now? You don't make them feel like their emotions are irrelevant. You acknowledge, you amplify, then you put on the basis of objectivity. And you see they will be the ones to tell you this will not work. Do you understand? Yes, please.
Okay, so my question is based on land banking. How do you convince your clients on land banking, and how can you know if a particular location is going to develop in no time?
First, there must be a purpose to everything. Who is this client that you are buying, that wants to buy, you're marketing? you cannot sell land banking to everybody. You must demystify the market and your data. You must know the people. So if I bought from you, XYZ property, you should know where I stand with you, and you tell me, okay, do you have some people at a lower level that are looking at this? And you start to see, one of the things that people want to hear in land banking is safety, security of income. So we need to understand that the real estate product has, they are similar in characteristics to some markets, right? So when we talk about money markets, you have the low-risk investors playing there. And you have low-risk appetite also in real estate when it comes to land banking. They go to an environment and they say they are buying into a space. They just go low income. The lower the risk, the lower the return. So what you do with 1 naira, waiting for 10 years, somebody else has probably done it with a certain amount of money in Ikoyi and he has tripled his money. It's a function of what is happening, right? I'm coming back to now give you the indicators. But first and foremost, who is the person that you are going to sell to? You remember, you must give to people what they want. There's this book, I've forgotten the name of the writer. He said, every customer wants 3 things, and they want it consistently, they want it consistently. Now, and if you can give it to them without any fault, they are okay. 1, they want you to serve them, they want you to give them what they want, not what you think they want. They want you to give them consistently without any fault, and they want you to deliver it to them at peace. And he analyzed that. So first and foremost is, what does this person want? Where is this person currently? If the person is not talking about, you just throwing it off. Have you thought about real estate investment? What do you think about real estate? There are different types of investment. Some people do. I just throw in those conversations casually. Some people talk about this, they double their money, they do this, this guy did this. I give you data, and that's why you need to work with data. The issue is that we sell to clients and we walk back. The moment you know the price somebody sells, that's a good data you can work with. You hold that data and you come back to say, 2 years, that figure has turned to XYZ amount. Oh, I sold a property in Lekki for about 120 million apartment, 2-bedroom, right-hand side. And because of Coastal Road, the value of that property has become a 250. When you start to give clients those kind of data, when it comes to land banking, they will tell me, where is the next? You must do what they call cross-selling. Now that cross-selling is to dangle the ROI before the people. The safety is secure. The promoters are reliable. Government, what is government position on that property? You need to let them know all those things. Politically, economically, all those things. Then you lay them on the dimensions of real estate. Yes, you will see that they would align with you so easily, regardless of whether it's land banking or sales for developed property. I think those are the questions we can take for now. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. So if you have extra questions, you can just send it to my DM. I'll do well to send it across to him. They probably will send a voice note to respond to your questions. But pending that time, please, can we quickly do group pictures, please? Group pictures, then we have a water break before the next session. So you can use the opportunity to network with him and have any side chat you want to have with him for 5 minutes. 5 minutes before the next speaker comes in. Thank you so much. So group pictures, can we all come here? Thank you. Please, let's make it snappy. Media, we're ready for you. Media. Let me see how we look. Okay, okay. Okay. Media. Please, the arrangement so that you can capture everybody's beauty face. This place seems crowded. To my left seems crowded. Can we adjust to this other side? To this other side. Please. We don't have a lot of space, so let's make use of it. Is everybody's face captured? Jami, do you want to join the picture? Okay. Are we good? Adeze, I can see your face. Adeze, tilt a bit like this. Can you see everybody's face? It doesn't work. Oh, wow. Let's do it like this. We that were tall like me, to the front. Those ones are short to the back. If you're as tall as me, to the front, please. We know ourselves. Two sets. Okay, 2 sets of pictures. Okay, beautiful. Thank you for the idea. 2 sets of pictures. Beautiful. Thank you. So, probably we that were tall should go first. We that were tall. If you look like me or you're an inch taller than me, please to the front. We that were, please. Oh yeah. Let's go. Are we good? Do we look good? I don't just only just to. Are we good? Okay. Fine girl. Is that okay, babe? Is that back stream? Are you not happy to be here? All right, next set. Thank you so much. So the other set that have taken pictures can do a quick water break. There's water in the fridge and some drinks in the fridge, so you can help yourself to eat. Thank you. Are we good? All right, thank you. So if you want to ask him any question by the side, before he goes, quickly do that, network with him, and before he goes. We have 2 minutes left before the next speaker comes in. 2 minutes left. Thank you so much. Then after that, after the 30-minute section, the next 30-minute section, then we'll have a 30 minutes break. Okay. Thank you. So there's water, drinks in the fridge. You can help yourself. You can sort that. Thank you. I'll queue in the next 5 minutes.
Two, two, G. Two, two. Oh.
Hello, can we come back to our seats, please? Can we come back to our seats? Thank you. Can we come back to our seats? Thank you. If you're in the kitchen, please come back to your seats. Come back to your seats for the next section. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll be sharing the slides to the group chat. If you are not on the group chat yet, do well to send me a message. Straight. If you're not in the group chat yet, please send me a message. Send a message to my DM so that I can be able to send the slides once and for all. Also, a media release form will be sent to us, a media consent form, to be able to use your pictures, the pictures we take today, right? So we'll be sending a form for you to fill. Then also, there'll be a feedback form that needs to be filled at the end of today. Thank you so much. So please, can we come back to our seats? If you're staying in the kitchen, please come back to your seats. Thank you. Have you been enjoying the section so far? All right. Thank you. just I told you guys to work the time. I told you guys to work the time. That's why I shared the stuff. Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. So hi. Good afternoon. Sorry. When you go downstairs, right? You turn around. There's a place to sound you. Thank you.
So should I start?
Yeah, because you're only just introducing who he is. I cannot start if like they have not started. GA, the last one I sent it. There's a PowerPoint and there's a PDF, the same thing. The last two that I sent to you. One, yes, is for GD Adekola, this one that you're interviewing now.
impacted. I know that I'm very confident that we won't leave here the same way we came. Another round of applause for him, please. Please, let's settle down. Let's settle down for our next speaker. Thank you. So our next speaker will be Mr. Jide Adekola. I'll give a brief biography about him. Jide Adekola is an architect, is the group managing director of Homework Group and an architect dedicated to nation building through innovative real estate development. Born into a humble, academically oriented family, he possessed a vision that extended beyond the present. From a young age, he nurtured an ability to imagine near and distant futures. His educational journey began at the University of Lagos Staff School and continued at the prestigious King's College, Lagos. With over 19 years of experience in the built environment, including 11 years leading Homework Group, Africa Arc, Jide Adekola has worked with some of Nigeria's best architectural firms and property development companies. His passion for real estate development is fueled by creativity and a deep commitment to making impactful contributions that drive wealth creation for investors and stakeholders. With all of that, please, I would like you to give a round of applause for the incredible, insightful, visionary Mr. Jide Adekola.
Hello. How many people are here? Chief. Boss. Organizers, how many people are here? Yes. Okay, good. Hi, how's everybody? We'll try and make this as interactive as possible. But I think the introduction is already in order, yeah? So do we have a collection of what? Of realtors? I mean, just a few people, like 5 people can tell me what they do? Real quick. Anybody, any volunteer? I want to see the bold ones here. Yes, great.
My name is Ifmael Nyako. I'm a real estate investment expert.
What does that mean?
It means I sell landed properties. I also consult.
I like what you call the real estate investment expert. Any other person? You guys are supposed to be both now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, what I do. My name is Oluwaseun. I provide solutions to people's real estate problem.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Thelme Inua, and I'm a property manager. So can I? So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Thelme Inua, and I'm a property manager.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lekon. I'm a real estate strategist. I help people make informed decisions and strategy on real estate.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Oluyede Eniola Mary. I work as a sales executive in the real estate firm.
Thank you. So that's good. That gives me an idea of what, that gives me an idea of what you guys are. So I was given a topic on deadlines and dreams. So I'll just give you guys, so I'm an architect, a real estate developer. We've been doing this for like 20 years now. So I guess you can listen to me. So basically, just to give you a little bit of background, but I think this will help, or we'll have it will be more of conversation. Yeah, so who is controlling the slides? So who am I queuing? Where's the click? Oh, good. So I just do that, right? No, let's do this. Yeah? Is this okay? We can play like this now. Can you see it? You want it to be bigger. So someone needs to zoom it. Okay. That's good. All right, good. So that's me.